What's up, everyone? Today I'm just going to be talking about a pretty simple scalp slash day trading strategy that I've been trying out using a free indicator, the VWAP, which is a moving average. But what's great about it is every day, if you're using a daily VWAP, every day it will snap to price action, which essentially will give the other side of the market a chance to control price. So you can see right here all day, Bitcoin was trending below the VWAP. Once it snapped to price, the price was able to get above the VWAP and hold it. And you can see for most of the day today, the bulls have been controlling the price action, keeping it above the VWAP. We dipped down right here, but for most of the day, we've been above it. And what's great about the VWAP is you can essentially use it as a significant level with a pretty tight invalidation level. Because if you are betting on the bulls to control the VWAP, then you are expecting price to hold it. And so if we lose VWAP, you can know pretty quickly that, you were incorrect. And this can be pretty powerful, especially when you pair it with some other indicators. Like I use Market Cipher B, but some people use the MACD or RSIs. But if your indicator, if your oscillator is looking bullish and you see that the bulls are controlling the VWAP, then you can be relatively confident that the bulls are going to keep price above it. Now, the way I've been trying to do it, trying to grab scalps from the VWAP, is I will look for what Flopping Groper calls the whale splash or something like that. Basically, just where the price action breaches above the VWAP and then comes back down, splashes back down to it, and you'll see if it holds it as support or not. And sometimes price will come down and perfectly touch off the VWAP. Other times it will sort of fall below it a little bit, but then it will recover it. So price doesn't always respect it to the exact dollar, but it gives you a pretty tight window. If you see that we are holding it or that we're recovering it, you have a pretty tight window of invalidation, like I said, and you could have grabbed a pretty decent scalp from here if you just traded the breach and the retest. And sometimes it can be deceiving. Right here we had a perfect retest of the VWAP and we had the 12-minute money flow crossing over. We were printing a trigger wave. Things were looking really bullish here and we did get a little move up here, but I'm sure there were a lot of people that were trading this that were expecting higher prices from this. And then when we lost VWAP here, some of them might have gotten wrecked. That's why when I'm taking scalps from these, I like to try and take profits as soon as possible and lock in the trade because, at any point we could just lose the VWAP. I like to take profits pretty early, as soon as possible, and then move my stop loss to my entry or to a point where if I get stopped out, it'll just be a break even. Because, like I said, sometimes, these trades can be deceiving. It can look like we're going to hold it, and then we just ultimately lose it. But sometimes these trades can actually be extremely profitable. Right here, we lost VWAP, came up, almost retested it. If you had waited for this last retest right here, you could have entered with a very tight stop loss. You could have maybe put your stop loss above this last swing high, and this would have been a massive winner. This was, I want to say probably like 9%. And that's, kind of why I like to use other indicators, like Market Cipher. If you see that money flow is coming down, if things are looking really bearish and we are holding VWAP, if the bears are holding VWAP, you can be pretty sure that we are going to, potentially see some downside. Here's a really good example of a very good VWAP entry right after it snapped to price. The bears were controlling price all day. We were trading below VWAP. Right when the VWAP snapped, we had a pump up above it, and then we held it and retested it 3 times before we saw some massive upside. So, you know, if you were trading the VWAP here, you could have set a very tight stop loss here and ridden this thing up with just a pretty simple scalp. Now, I like to keep my risk really low when I'm doing these. These are scalps. Depending on how much confidence I have in them, you know, I may have a little bit more risk on some, but I like to treat these as scalps. And then if they end up running, they end up running. But, you know, I like to take my profits early, maybe after like 1% move or something like that, maybe like 0.7, 0.8. And then I'll just move my stop loss to my entry or right below the VWAP and hope that we continue holding it. Now, right now, I just got in another little scalp when we retested the VWAP right here. Right, we had the breach, came back down, held it as support. We also had a 382 fib level right below here, so I could have a tight stop loss here. I'm kind of thinking we may get a little runner here based on the 1 hour money flow on market cipher B. It's just crossing up. We are looking like this momentum wave has some more juice in it. So yeah, you know, recently I've been liking the VWAP plays. And yeah, okay, there we go. We're getting some price action.